Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Align and Thriving Summit. We're super excited because we have an amazing, creative, social, digital, like expert, right? When it comes to showing up and being seen. Today we are going to talk about building systems that doesn't break you, which is really important because as entrepreneurs, as we're growing businesses, even seasoned entrepreneurs, we have to pivot so often that oftentimes like changing and pivoting can give us burnout, can seem like it's breaking us, can make it seem like we are and not in alignment. So today we have Troya here to share some of that information with you on how we can create systems that does not break you. So just in case are not familiar with TD&D Consulting, we are a creative communications agency, and we were founded with a simple mission in mind, and that is to help purpose-driven led entrepreneurs and organizations show up confidently and show up with an impact and visibility. So go ahead, Don. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you to introduce Troya, and then we can go into our icebreaker questions.
Yeah, so Troy, I'm going to go ahead and read off your bio, excuse me, and after that, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the ladies. So Troya Monet is a dynamic content creator. I'm sure if you're here today, you've probably seen her on social because that's how we connected with her from her great content. Just had to add that in there. She's a social media strategist and the founder of a thriving digital marketing agency, 46 Creative, dedicated to helping female founders and brands and entrepreneurs grow and monetize their online presence. With a passion for innovative storytelling and high impact content creation, Troyer empowers business owners to elevate their brands through strategic social media marketing, trend driven content, and community engagement. As a coach and a mentor, she does a lot of great things. She helps countless entrepreneurs and creators here and businesses expand their reach, increase visibility, and generate revenue through digital platforms. Known for her unique fashion forward approach to content, Toria blends creativity with strategy to captivate her audience and drive real results. We love that. With a growing online presence and a reputation for delivering actionable insights, Toria continues to inspire and educate entrepreneurs looking to build impactful and profitable brands in the digital space. So that was a mouthful there, Troya. So I would love for you to just add a little bit to that and let the ladies know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, of course. Well, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for having me. I love being in the room, virtual rooms, even with women who get it, women of God, women of faith, women who are thriving to not only have better for themselves, but also better for their communities. So thank you guys so much for having me here. I am Cherry Monet. I am a content creator, coach, mentor. Like Donna said, the owner and founder of 46 Creative. We are a full service social media and content creation agency. And what that basically just means is we do everything top to bottom in terms of social media organically. I always tell people I've been able to go through and build my business without ever running an ad. I can make fun of people sometimes and say, oh my gosh, you're spending all that money on ads. I did everything organically and I don't even know how to run an ad. So I really believe in organic marketing. No knock to my ads, people. I think ads are great. I'm actually about to start running ads myself, but I think organic storytelling and organic marketing is super important. That's how you really build those long-lasting, close-knit relationships with your audience. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a graduate from Florida A&M University, so HBCUs have a really great and special place in my heart. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yes,
Yes,
we are.
and Troya, so how did you realize this was your passion? Like the story of around like the why around how did you get here? Like, so did you just were you posting on social media and ended up, realizing that you loved it and you had a skill for it? Did you always know that you was a storyteller and wanted to share visual stories? Like how did you get here today to be the expert that you are?
Yeah, it's so funny you asked that. Depression actually got me here. Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so I graduated from FAMU in 2019 with my bachelor's of science in public relations, which is kind of very similar to like a marketing degree, if you kind of
Mhm.
journalism marketing degree. And it's so hard to find a job in that industry. Like I thought, okay, I'm gonna graduate, I'm gonna find me a job in marketing and communications. No, it was so hard. So I applied to probably like 50 jobs. My backup plan was I'm gonna be a flight attendant. So I literally went to flight attendant school for Frontier Airlines. And as I'm leaving flight attendant school to go back to Tampa, I get a call from one of the top public relations agencies in New York City. And they were like, hey, we want you to join our fellowship program. This is not a promised offer, but if you do great, the team loves you, you know, you get good results, it will turn into full time. So of course, I'm like, New York City, yeah, let's do it. So ended up moving to New York. And although I loved it during the warmer months, that cold and depression, that seasonal depression is nothing to play with. I
Yeah.
am a Florida girl and I never even owned a coat. And then one day it just got cold. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was barely making any money
Total
within there.
difference.
So I'm calling my mom, calling my dad. I'm like, hey, can y'all send me some money for a coat? I am freezing. So seasonal depression really got me, but I felt like my parents and my friends, my family, like everyone was so proud of me going to New York City after leaving Florida. Like that's a huge accomplishment. I did not want to let them down. So I'm like, I got to find some type of outlet. Like, what is it that I can do living here that's going to allow me to thrive and not just stay in this little shoebox apartment because it's cold outside and I'm just scrolling on my phone. So I ended up really wanting to start a fashion business. So I started Wanted Wardrobe, which is an online clothing store, and I loved it. It was easy for me to start it. I was in New York City, of course, fashion capital of the world. All the warehouses are out there, vendors are out there. So I grew just like that, literally lit up my life. It was so fun. It was so great. And then I was like, yeah, I just still don't want to be here. So I ended up packing up the business, going back home to Florida. My mom already didn't want me to really be in New York because she's like, I want my baby to be home with me. I don't know. I don't like you being in New York. Come back home. You know how moms are. You could always,
Yeah.
they just want you to be home with them. So I ended up going back home and I still ran the fashion business. My mom, my sister, they helped me pack orders. And that was early pandemic time. So my business was booming during that time frame. I mean, granted, I already had a decent amount of followers. At that time, if you had 10,000 followers, you had a lot of followers. So I had around 10,000 followers at that time frame. And I got on YouTube and I just started documenting my journey of how I started the fashion business and, you know, what I'm doing. Mind you, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it, but I'm sharing people my journey of me winging it. And it just got to a point where people were like, hey, can you help me with my business? Can you help me do this? Can you help me set up my Shopify store? And at that time, like I said, I was living with my mom, and I remember many nights where she was like, "Hey, you coming downstairs for dinner?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm on a call with such and such that I met on YouTube." And she's like, "Girl, who are you on the phone with? Like, you don't even know these people. Are these people paying you?" So I always give my mom credit because I was coaching people for probably like 5 or 6 months for free
For
on
free.
the phone with them, giving them my personal cell phone number, strangers on the internet, helping them on FaceTime with them, helping them set up their businesses for a really long time. And then
And talk about like faith and talk about having God-given gifts and talents, because you was like, wait, I'm not even going to charge these people and I don't know them. I'm letting them into my life. I'm giving them my personal phone number. I think that is so beautiful. And actually that was unintentionally probably a way of you not even realizing that you were like sowing seeds to other people. So such a beautiful journey.
Yeah, so I wanted to share, like, one of the things I wanted to share was the correlation to the story that we have. And I think it was really beautiful for you to share that the fact that you started this business was from depression. And a lot of times I feel like us in the marketing, communication, brand strategy, that realm of this industry is very difficult to get in, right? Let alone now, talk about when we first graduated, right? I graduated undergrad in 2013, I applied to at least 100 jobs, at least 100, at least. And I'm just like, why can't I get a job in this field? I was working at Extended Stay America doing contract work. So I was a contractor, right? And I'm just like, this is not it. Like, what is happening here? And I was just like, something has to, is there's more for me? Something has to be more for me. There has to be more for me, right? There has to be something out there that I can do. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and change sceneries. I don't even need to be in North Carolina anymore because this is not the place, clearly. And ended up traveling down the highway to Atlanta. with a unpaid internship with a great company though. So I was like, you know what? It's a good company. They are doing their thing. I had like maybe $2,500 saved from working a part-time job. I had no like income, no job here. And I was like, I'm coming, I'm doing this internship, we're gonna figure it out. And here we
Yeah.
are today with TG&D Consulting, growing our brands, fostering relationship, working on amazing projects and growing a name for ourselves in the Atlanta area. But man, talk about that depression that kicks in when you feel like you've done everything. Like I had internships. I graduated cum laude. I'm just like, God, what is happening here? Like, and I really not only like the depression and anxiety that comes in, but just the diminishing of faith. Like,
Yeah.
God, like I did everything that I was supposed to do, that I thought I was supposed to do, right? But then as we go on this journey, we're growing as entrepreneurs, we realize, well, I'm realizing myself is that, girl, this was never your path. This was never like your plan and your path. God already had the plan and path. So just be okay with it and work through it. So as we talk about planning and paths, one of the things that is really important is creating sustainable businesses, right? So today, that's what we're going to have you here helping the ladies do, is create a sustainable business that will help them grow and help them grow with longevity. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Today we're going to empower the women to stop doing it all, because that's one of the things we love to do. And I don't want to say like a race thing, but I don't know if I think it's women entirely, but Black women, we're just built a little bit different, right? And I feel like we like to do it all, and I think it's just because we've seen our moms, like our Black moms, doing it all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're here to share how we can support them through freedom, balance, and intentional success. But before we get into the nitty gritty and hearing your great advice, Troya, Donna's going to start off with your first icebreaker question.
Yes. Okay. So, Troy, so if you can automate one part of your business, which I'm sure you have several things automated because you're a content strategist, but if you can automate one thing in your business today, what would that be?
Um, if I could have a robot follow me around to record me and the same robot edit the videos for me and post them on my way. So one thing that I found in this new season of my life is, and I'm so grateful and thankful that this is an issue, because it's not an issue. This is a good problem for me to have. Is that I'm in a season of my life where, since I've started the agency portion of my business, my personal brand doesn't get as much love.
Mhm.
But I find it a blessing because now I'm able to bless other brands and other businesses who don't have that strategic approach or who don't have that skill set. So if I
Mhm.
could automate that portion and have some time to, nurture my own personal brand a little bit more, I would. So I would automate that. Another thing I would say too, is I would probably also automate, probably like some type of like HR or like system in terms of like the back end of my team, and like have
Yes.
someone delegate teamwork or something along
Yes.
those lines, because I am a true creative, and I am in a season of my life where I'm really learning leadership skills, and I can be honest with
Mhm.
myself and say that I am a creative. I am
Mhm.
not the best CEO, if you will. So that's a portion of my life where I'm trying to get better at, just becoming a
Mhm.
better leader. So if there was some things that I can automate in terms of that, that'd probably be it.
Oh, I love that too, because talk about being an entrepreneur and managing and leading teams. Like, that's been one of the struggles that we've had being in business for 8 years. It's like, it's so hard to build a team that you can actually trust, a team that actually gets the things done.
Especially
So
when you're a boutique agent, like online agency, and
yeah,
everybody works remotely.
yeah.
So I can see, and remote work works. So we're not saying that, but it's just been a challenge to, yeah, like Donna said, to just find the team and then manage the team. And we realized that we had to do a whole once we basically ended our last contract, we had to do a whole system to where we have created a whole basically HR flow, because it was just like, why is this
Yeah,
not working?
yeah,
And we can share some of the information with you, Troy. I would love to share some of the information with you, that what we created, because we was in this actual mastermind program and we realized, okay, you have processes and procedures, but you still need basically HR department. You need to have this stuff fleshed out. You need to really have it, it needs to be thorough. So that way there's no room for confusion. You need to be able to
Sure.
know your the people skills, right? Know the people that you're hiring skills and know how you can help them grow in those skills. So it's been a challenge for us, but we are looking forward to eventually hiring back on team and then also utilizing the systems and processes for HR that we put into place. Um,
For sure.
So
next
the next
question. Go ahead, Donna.
icebreaker. Okay, so what's one task you've been doing yourself that a system could handle?
One task I've been doing myself that a system could handle. I would probably say client communication. Is probably something because I get like emails all day from clients asking some questions are good questions. Some of them are, we just talked about this in the last call,
Yeah.
different things along those lines. So if I could go through and do that, I'm very hands-on with a lot of my clients. And that's something that I know that I probably should give away to one of my team members, but that's just like, I love having that one-on-one relationship with my clients. And I think that's why a lot of people come to me and my agency is because they're going to talk to Troya. They're not talking to Sarah, who
Mm-hmm.
they don't even know. They didn't see Sarah. That's Sarah. Sarah isn't the reason why they signed up for the agency. And I know
Right.
eventually I'll have to get out of that. But for now, I do love that component. So I would definitely probably say that.
Okay, and
Yeah,
I think that's important because
yeah, it is because we had a challenge with doing that. So Donna had came in full time a few years after me,
like
right? So
before, like
I
business.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was working the business full time. So it was like everybody seen my face, right? Everybody was talking to
Yeah.
Dwayna. So everybody knew that Dwayna was the person, the go-to person to talk to. So then when Donna comes in full time, we started to do the shift, and Donna came in full time because I was just like, Donna, I can't do this anymore. I can't do that. Like it's growing. I need help. Like we was hiring on contractors, but I needed her help, right? I needed her to be fully in the business, showing up every day like I was, and when we started to transition, that was a challenge for quite a few
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
And it ended up being to where we had to decide whether or not we was gonna continue to like to offer the same services and work with the same clients, or we needed to kind of like pivot entirely and kind of like start anew. Because it was like one contract we picked up to where it was like whenever I was told her I wasn't available, it was a problem. It was a and it's like, no, you're covered. We have everything you need. And it was just a problem. And I'm like, I can't because I started to feel like I can't do it. I can't be everywhere. I can't do it all,
Yeah.
right? So that was a shift that was very interesting for us, but we were able to
Yeah.
work through it, and clients eventually got it, but they didn't understand it, and it was like,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, so it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you thought you're working with Dwayna, but you're working with TG and the consultant, right? And I trust that everybody here will get you what you need and do what needs to happen.
Right.
Um, so let's get into some of the core questions that we have for you today. Toya. What common challenges do women entrepreneurs face when trying to manage all aspects of their businesses? And we kind of just threw out some there, but in your experience, and then from what you've been maybe conversating with your clients about, what have been some of the challenges when it comes to managing it
Yeah.
all?
Um, I would say really not really not paying attention to the areas and aspects where they thrive, right? So if you notice that you're really great in terms of creativity, creation, coming up with amazing ideas, I think that you should pay really close attention and stay in that lane and then delegate everything else within your business. So that way you're able to truly thrive within that area. So me, for example, I'm in a process right now of really building out like my Atlanta team, considering all of my clients are here now at this point for the most part. We have a couple clients like in DC, one more in Florida, and then another one in Chicago. But since most of our clients are here, I need to go through and delegate my team here. But I need to make sure that I'm delegating it in a way that where I'm able to still go through and thrive as it relates to what I'm good at. So for example, I love content days. Content days are like one of my favorite areas and aspects of running my business. We go to the client, we create 30 days worth of content for them, send it back to them fully edited. That's where I go through and thrive. However, on the back end, I might need someone to go through and make sure that our project management system makes sense. So we just went through and hired a project manager. So that way we can make sure that clients are getting things on time, the project is being managed, the way that it's supposed to. So really making sure that you understand where you are good at. What are the
Mm-hmm.
different things? Why did the client come to you in the first place, right? Is it creativity? Is it the fact that they love your ideas? Is it organization? Figuring out what you're good at and really thriving in those areas and delegating and hire elsewhere.
Yes, yes. And for the people watching who are in the midst of like trying to find resources to grow a team, there are so many AI platforms now that you can utilize
Yeah.
in the meantime. But I
Yeah.
think too, with AI being so big, and I know that it's with the trajectory of AI, it's going to start taking positions and things like that. I think it's still super important, as Troya said, to delegate to actual team members with heartbeats, because I mean, AI is essentially a robot, right? And it's super important to still have someone who can actually fill the business versus the
Yeah.
AI tools that are created right now that can just help you navigate through those seasons of um, building more revenue to create resources to hire team. So love
And
that.
one thing to add to that too is I think it's important to understand every role within the business. Yes, you
Yeah.
want to go through and work in the lane that you're good at, the lane that you enjoy, the lane that, you thrive in. But me, for example, one thing that I learned is that I need to make sure that I understand how to work all areas and aspects. If my project manager gets sick, something happens to him, what I
Mm-hmm.
need to learn how to make sure that I understand the back end so that way I can make sure that the project runs smoothly. So don't hire so quickly that you don't understand the time frame, the roles in those different places, because there was times where I would hire someone for something and I'm like, I've done this role within my business before. I know how much time it takes to do this. And if you're lollygagging, I'm going to be able to know because I ran that part in that area and aspect of my business before. So don't be super quick to hire. Run your business effectively by yourself. I did it
Mm-hmm.
for a very, very long time. I'm still doing it to this day. So make sure that you go through and do that. It'll save you a lot of time.
Yes, yes, love that. Okay, all right. So explain systems over self that mindset shift. Like, what does that look like?
Say that one more time for me.
Yeah, explain systems over self. So like the systems over self mindset, knowing that I can do all these things myself, or I need to have these systems put in place um,
Yeah.
to make things flow smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, when I first started, I had no system. I was just doing a little bit of everything and it was working by the grace of God. So I would do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And thank God it was working for a long time.
Yeah.
But guess what? I got burnt out so fast, right? Last year
Mhm.
in January for my 29th birthday, I went to Mexico for a week and a half, didn't even bring a laptop because I had systems in place because I
Mhm.
went through and I made sure that I delegated. So when I came back, I still had money coming in because I set up systems. So you do need to make sure that there is some type of workflow. Understand how your business runs and operates. I feel like, depending on where you are as a CEO and also a founder or, whatever freelancer, whatever it is that you're doing, I think that it's important to understand um, what area of your business needs growth and what area of your business doesn't, so that way you're able to operate in those different like ebbs and flows. Some different areas and time frames within your business, you may not be needing to focus in on sales. There's different areas within your business where you might need to be really focusing in on brand awareness. So me, for example, right now in this day and age within my business, I'm not really focused on sales right now. I'm focused on brand awareness. So that way, as I'm utilizing this time to go through and build my team, by the time my team is nurtured, they're thriving, they understand their operations and their procedures, I have a long laundry list of people who filled out my form who need social media management, and we're ready to go through and get hired because everyone on the team understands their roles and their responsibilities. So I think systems is very important because it allows you to not get burnt out, and then it allows your team to understand what's going on in the back end too.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Okay, so share actionable strategies. I know you've kind of talked about some. We've kind of mentioned some as well. But share some about automating repetitive tasks using different project management tools. Um, and we talked about delegating it effectively, but also let's talk about like creating SOPs. Like, what does that look like? What are some strategies of automating those things?
So for example, a couple of different things that I personally have automated within my business that help, and that I also delegate and that also have SOPs is the social media management side of everything. So we utilize a platform called Metrical. That's what we utilize for social media management. We just started implementing a new tool, which I really, really love. It's called Rella. Rella is really great for social media management as well. And then content planning, sending that over to the client. The client approves it. The client can comment directly. We can schedule it directly within that platform as well. So I think it's important to make sure that your team has a really good focus in on the different tools that you're utilizing, so that way when you're going through and giving them SOPs, you're not also training them on how to use the software. That
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of time within itself. I know when I first started using ClickUp a couple years ago, I was like, what is this? Like ClickUp was so confusing for me. I remember I started using Slack in corporate, so it was easy for me to understand Slack. But really making sure that your team understands softwares before you hire them, and making sure that you give them a really good deep dive into what those softwares can do, how to go through and utilize those softwares and put those also into the SOPs, I think is important as well.
Yeah, so what I heard you say is important for the CEOs and founders to know the systems. I heard you say that. So
Yeah.
making sure, guys, that like she said, don't just hand over the stuff. You have to know what you're handing over. So know how to work your CRS system. If you're using Dubsado, know how to work that. Know how to do the basic things in there, because if not, then it's like if you bring somebody on, who's going to train them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or how do you create the SOPs if you don't know how the process is supposed to work? And I'm sorry if you hear this little one in the background. This is the mom life, the mompreneur life here.
Yes,
With my
mompreneurs.
toddler. But no, that is super important. And I think that's one of the things, like even when Donna came on full time, that's one of the things we struggle with, is just like us managing, like knowing what tools to use and trainings and things of that nature, knowing how to use the tools. I think making sure you set aside time for that is important. So it's going to look like it's a lot of time that you're dedicating to your business, because you're learning in the process, right? You're not just starting the business. You have to learn these systems as well. You have to really show up as a leader that you want to portray to your employees or your contractors. Um, so the next question, can you share a real life example or a case study of how implementing systems improve workflow and reduce stress for you? And maybe if you have like a recent one, I know you said you're currently pivoting and you've been pouring all your stuff into your agency, right? And not your personal brand. Do you have any stories you would like to share around that?
Mm, let's see. So you're asking what are some different things that I've done, personal stories in terms of really kind of like building out that back end kind of systems,
Yeah, so
SOPs,
so
really
say
building
for
out all
example,
that.
yeah, so say for example, you have a client that just came on for your agency, right? And there's a system that you just started that you implement into the business, and if you didn't have this previously, maybe there was stress or there was errors or
Yeah.
hiccups in maybe onboarding, or like you said, managing the client, project management when it comes to the client. Has there ever been a recent example to where a system that you had in place reduced the stress and got you to elevate within business?
Yes. So I had a client who did not like the systems that we used, for
Mhm.
example. And it was very difficult working with this client. I'm still working with this client today. We were able to find a resolution, thank God. But
Yeah.
when I first started working with the client, she was not good at understanding systems, not tech savvy. Mind you, multi-million dollar business, but just not tech savvy at all, and not
Mm-hmm.
in the least bit. She's one of the ones who would rather do a FaceTime call than a Zoom, rather
Mm-hmm.
text instead of email.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult time, kind of trying to go through and get her to understand that I have these systems in place, because if you're on FaceTime with me, it's hard for my team to understand what's going on the back end, because it's hard for me to translate that into getting them to understand what where we are within the project. Text
Yeah.
message even hard sometimes, because I'm not able to always go through and translate it to my team in that area and aspect as well. But I think it's important for you to understand your client, and then try to find softwares and systems that make it a little bit easier for them to go through and navigate it as well. Because if they're frustrated, given the operations and systems and strategies that you're using, it makes the project very difficult to go through and manage, because now there's this
Mm-hmm.
huge communication barrier. So I think that it's important to understand your client. Ask them, what have you used with other service providers in the past? What are you comfortable with? But still making sure that at the end of the day, you're able to go through and, fulfill your services to the best of your ability, given the different systems it is that make sense for your brand, so that way you're not stressing yourself out.
Yes, talk about that. So we've had that experience too, especially when you're working with older clients. It's like they don't know much about technology. They have the money, they can pay the bill, right? But it's like, I don't know how to do this. And I remember one time we had this really great real estate client in Arizona, older man, $1 million company, but he didn't know like how to get on the first call, didn't know how to get on the Zoom, didn't know how to send us over files and things that we needed. So definitely also have some grace with those clients too, because it's going to take time, but those are the ones you want, because they'll come back to you. They'll be the ones that are renewing their contracts. They'll be the ones that's telling everybody word of mouth what you're doing and how you're benefiting their business. So I think that's super important. Okay, so Troya, how can entrepreneurs balance ambition with rest while maintaining productivity? Because we're in our 30s now. Rest is more important now than ever. Okay, so talk about that balance.
Oh, it's so funny you asked this, because this is a question that I asked my mentor yesterday. I'm in a season in my life right now where I'm like, listen, I am single, I have no kids, I have a dog, I just moved to a new city. My mind frame right now is really like, go all in, go hard. That is my mindset right now, where I still have the opportunity to do so. So I asked her this question. I'm like, oh, what would you do like in your singleness? What would you do if you had no kids and you just moved to a new city and you have this business and it's thriving? And she was like, go all in, but also still make sure that you set aside time frame for boundaries and then also for rest. So that's what I've honestly been doing over the last couple of years as well, is just making sure that I delegate enough time for rest. My mental health is so important to me. I sometimes will, like, literally right now I'm on a call with you guys. I have another call at 1. After that call at 1, I'm going to go lay across the bed for 30 minutes and then I'm going to go through and get up. Like, I do that all the time throughout the day. That's one of the great things I love about working from home. I'm going to go lay across the bed, or I'm going to go lay on the couch and like kick my feet up, scroll through TikTok, and then go and maybe watch my comfort creators, my creators that just bring me joy, that don't talk about work, and I just love those different things. But honestly, truly, what I've learned over the years is there's no real thing as such thing as balance, in my personal opinion.
Listen.
Some type of area within your life is going to lack. Because the other part is thriving, right? So me, for example, I'm not really worried about relationships right now. That's just an area within my life that's lacking, and I'm fine with it. I'm okay with that, because I know that as I go through and nurture my brand, nurture my business, I will be, set myself up more for success later on. So I don't think there's any such thing as balance. There's going to be different areas in your life that's going to have a little bit more weight to it, and there's other areas in your life that may not. So yeah.
So I should have said harmony, because we've been trying to get away from the balance word too, because it's more so juggling harmony, because it's like something's gonna be up here, something's gonna be down here, and I love how you mentioned, because we're now big on social media, right? And I love how you said comfort creators. When is this thing now going around about doom scrolling, right? You getting on social media, doom scrolling. It's like, but if you are an entrepreneur, especially if you're creative, you have to be on social media. You have to see what's trending, what's not trending, and it's good to be inspired. So I love how you said comfort creators. And if you are on social media now and you're like, you need to switch up your algorithm, get you some comfort creators. Get you some comfort creators, and so you can get inspired, get motivated. And if you're not following Troya after watching, make sure you are following her after watching this, because she is a comfort creator. And that's actually how I connected with her, because she was one of my comfort creators. Like, literally, I'd seen your content. I was like, wait, like this, like that. I was like, I have to follow her, because I like this. I like her vibe. I like what she's doing. I like the digital aspect. So thank you for sharing that. And not balance, ladies, harmony, juggling.
Yes.
To thrive, you can't give all to all areas of your life.
And when you
Yeah,
say
for sure.
juggle, I just automatically get overwhelmed. So I don't like maybe add the ease and flow in there because I feel like I don't know. I think I'm in this state in this place to where, like you said, I realize there is no true balance and something is going to have to be on the back burner. So I'm like I've been in this space to where it's like how do you fully show up for your kids intentionally and still show up for your business? And I've been in that space and I'm like, well, Dwayna, I'm honestly feeling like you got to pick and choose. I mean, yes, you can choose to be at home with them, but a lot of times it's still a picking and choosing type of scenario. So, yes, thank you for mentioning that because balance is a myth.
Yeah.
So speaking of balance, when it comes to it says something about protecting your energy because you're gonna not doom scroll, excuse me, comfort scroll, as well as lay across your bed when it comes to after multiple calls a day. How else do you go about protecting your energy and time when it comes to sustaining your business, a successful business?
Yeah. One thing I do is I don't follow anyone who triggers me. So if there is someone that I feel, or if you're talking about something that's triggering me, I am very good at hitting unfollow. Very, very good at it. I am very good at hitting block. I actually find joy in it sometimes because
Toya, you are my twin because I will unfollow. I will unfollow.
I will unfollow, I will mute, I will block very quickly. Because one thing that I think is important is I'm in an industry where I have to be on social media. So I
Yeah.
can't have to be somewhere and then still don't feel connected, don't feel inspired, feel triggered if I'm in my work environment. Social media is my work environment. So if I'm going on social media, I don't want to see craziness. Like I unfollowed all the blogs for a very, very long time. I just went through and followed them back because I do need to know what's going on in pop culture, but I
Mm.
unfollowed them for a long time. So I really only follow people who are going to feed me. So if
Yeah.
I'm waking up in the morning and then I know it's bad that we do this, but we have to be honest, we all do it. Sometimes we shouldn't. Is grabbing our phone when we wake up in the morning. It's not good to do it, but we do it, right? So if I'm gonna do that, and I know I'm going to do that, I need to make sure that I'm following people who are going to get me set up right for my day. So I follow a lot of spiritual leaders, a lot of
Mhm.
pastors. I follow people who are doing something with them with their lives. I don't want to follow the girl who's arguing with her baby daddy every other day on Instagram. I just don't want to do that. And I'm not going to do it either. So I just follow people who feed me. And I always say this, make sure your feed feeds you. If your feed is
Yeah.
not feeding you, you don't go on Instagram and you feel inspired. You want to throw your phone down and you want to get to work. That's how I feel every single time I'm scrolling through social media because I make sure that my feed feeds me.
Yeah.
Yes, guys. And then speaking of your feeding you, don't allow other people to mess up that feed of yours, right? To mess up your algorithms, because we have a group thread and one of my best friends, I'm just like, girl, your algorithm, please do not send me nothing. Get it together
Mhm.
over there, because it's just like the
Yeah.
the craziness of the world. I'm like, I don't want to see this today. I don't watch the news for a reason. So, I try to get into the news, but it's like I don't want to watch that every
I don't
day.
watch
I
it.
don't want to hear doom and gloom and about, the craziness is going on in the world. Please light me up. Thank you.
Man, amen to that. Okay, so Toya, what encouragement do you have for women who are feeling overwhelmed by running a solo business?
Mm. Whew. Is partner with the overwhelm, to be completely honest. Like
Mm-hmm.
like accept the overwhelm,
Mm-hmm.
but give it a different word.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the word when you claim over being overwhelmed or you claim being stressed or you claim being depressed or anything along those lines, you will be. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, oh my gosh, this literally makes me just like feel some type of way. But a couple weeks ago, I kept saying I was tired. And I was because I kept saying I was tired. Like,
Yeah.
don't utilize those words. Like, you can't be like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. You're gonna be tired because you're telling yourself you are. Mind you, I wasn't tired. I probably was just like maybe a little fatigued, maybe just a little sleepy, something along those
Yeah.
lines. But I think that it's important to just realize that it's a lot. I don't know where we got this thing where like entrepreneurship and running a business is like
Mm-hmm.
sunshine and
Social
rainbows. No,
media. Social media.
stay
They
at
just
your I tell my mentees all the time, stay at your job, please, as
Yeah.
long as you can. You
You
do not
work.
want this life.
I'm
I don't
telling
have a
you.
promised paycheck. You have a promised paycheck coming in every
Mm-hmm.
single week. I don't know where my next dollar is going to come from. I can have a client leave tomorrow. I can get another. I can get five more the next day. There's
Mm-hmm.
ebbs and there's flows. So I always tell them to stay. Like literally, that's one thing I wish that I would have done was to probably stay, and then also to I call it like milk dry. I would milk my corporate job dry if I could have went back and did it. I would have done
Mm-hmm.
so many certification programs. They would have paid for it. A lot of
Yeah.
corporate companies are going to pay for or will pay for your certification programs. I would have asked, hey, I want to really understand this resource in terms of PR and marketing. And they would have paid for it. They would have given me those opportunities. So find different ways within your corporate world that you can go through and utilize that as a way to thrive within your business. But
Yeah.
just realize that you're going to be overwhelmed at times. You just
Yeah.
are. But try to give it a different word, a different meaning, and also expect it in some seasons. Like Black Friday just passed for me. I can finally breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Q1 is always slow for me, which is great. So I love it. Q1 is my birthday time. I can relax a little bit. January is always super slow. A lot of my community and my clients are, just finished holidays and just finished Black Friday. So I can breathe a little bit. There's gonna be times and you have to understand when those overwhelming times are gonna come. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and something I want to add to that is like the glamorization of entrepreneurship. I think one of the reasons why we glamorize is because what we see on social media, right? It's like, yeah, we see um the influencers or the creatives that's doing the shopping or doing the vacations or doing those things that they desire for during their day-to-day, but they don't show you the nitty-gritty, or you don't even really necessarily know how long they've been doing it. They could have been doing this for 10 years and now you're just seeing them, right? But you think it happened overnight, and that's not necessarily the case. But one of the things too, that I love to tell people when it comes to just really understanding if entrepreneurship is for you. Are you okay with working 60 hours a week and potentially not getting paid? Are you okay with potentially you work 40 hours a week? Are you okay with working 60 and not knowing if that is going to turn into $1?
mm-hmm.
Are you okay with doing that for months at a time and not, as you're building the foundation, right? You're pouring all these hours and time into your business. And it's the foundation. So you're not seeing any fruits from that labor because you have to create the foundation in order for it to flourish, right? So these are things that I think people need to kind of understand when it comes to doing a business, and it's just not having the product. Is like having this, like, you don't have a business if you don't have systems, right? Speaking
yeah,
of like what a business is, if you don't have systems in place, are you a business owner or are you a freelancer? Like, so I think that's really important that you mentioned that, and I wanted to just add to that.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback off something too. So I love when you mentioned staying at corporate. So that was one of, transparently speaking, that was one of the reasons why, like, I was like, Dwayne, I'm gonna give me 6 more months. Give me, I need 4 more months. I need another year. Like, it's because we started our business like as Dwayna was pregnant. She had just had my nephew, right? And then for oldest are 10 months apart. So right after she got pregnant, I got pregnant. And I was like, wait, I need, some cushion. I need some stability. I'm, the fear started to set in. I'm like, I want to do this with you, but I need that security, girl. I need that security. So I literally pushed it off for 4 years. And as she was explaining in the beginning, she was like, Donna, I need you now, the burnout, right? And it was like, okay, I'm coming. But when I put in that resignation notice, I'm like, God, I trust you. Because that was one of the hardest things, like leaving the stability, leaving, like I even started climbing the corporate ladder. I was a sales trainer before I left, was training new hires coming in, had classrooms with 20 to 30 people, training them to prepare them for the company. And I think in that season too, it was meant for me to stay as long as I did because I learned a lot of leadership skills that I was then able to apply in our business. Because when we do like have team and work with interns, I'm the one managing those because I have that experience. So I think that's important. If you are in corporate right now, for the ones watching, you're like, wait, I want to start a business or I have this side hustle. Utilize the skills and trait and talents that you're learning at your corporate, because you can definitely use all of those in your business. Okay, so last question here, Toya. So some personal habits or non-negotiables that help sustain your workflows and prevent burnout. I know you mentioned earlier that you've experienced burnout. So what are some things, personal habits and non-negotiables that you have in place?
I will go to Ulta.
That was
Sounds, but Ulta is like my happy place. So like
Mhm.
if I am feeling burnt out, it might be the middle of the day. I'm gonna go to Ulta. I might go to the mall. I might go to, no, we're not really doing Target, but hey, I might go to Target, or I might go somewhere. You have to get away from the computer. Like you have to.
Mhm.
I'll go for a drive, listen to music, put the sunroof down. Like you have to just step away for a second. And like a lot of my clients and cause like people within my audience think it's funny when I say this, but you have to go touch grass. Go for a walk.
Mhm.
Go listen, put your AirPods in, put you on a good worship playlist, and just go for a walk. I think that that
Mhm.
is super, super important that you figure out a way to just step away because it can consume you and it could literally drive you crazy. I get my best ideas when I'm working out, when I'm on the treadmill. Apparently, I like looked it up one time and it's like the dopamine is like enhanced when you're working out. So that gives you
Mhm.
more ideas, that makes you more alert, that just makes your increases your creativity. So those are some things that I do. Like I am good for leaving my desk in the middle of the day, going to Ulta. I might not even buy anything half the time, but
Yeah.
just getting it away from the computer and just like feeling a sense of just like normalness to yourself.
Customizing work.
Biggest challenge in systemizing work: delegation, understanding what needs to be prioritized over what task. And then also there's certain tasks in your business where you're super excited about getting that task done. And there might be tasks within your business where you're like, kind of dreading getting some of the other stuff done. So just delegation and showing each task favoritism, I would say.
Hmm.
All right. Quick mindset shift from hustle to systems.
Mindset shift from hustle to systems. You have to do it anyway, so just find a better way to do it so that way you're not going through and spinning your blocks.
That's a word. All right. One small action to implement a system this week.
Figure out what you're suffering in, figure out what your business is suffering at, find a system that can go through and alleviate some of that stress.
All right. Thank you. So we are to the end of our session with Troya Monet. Okay. So Troya, let the ladies know what resource you're providing them. She's giving you a freebie, and then let the ladies know where they can find you.
Yeah, of course. So the freebie that I want to go through and give you guys is called the Consistency Cure. It is an ebook that I utilize, within my agency, and I also give it to a lot of my mentees. It is going to help you cure your, distractions and if you're suffering with being consistent on social media. So I want to give that to you guys for free. It's called the Consistency Cure. And then you guys can find me on all platforms at Troya Monet. TikTok, I am Troya Monet with two Y's. And yeah, super excited to be here. And thank you guys again for the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you, Troya, for
Thank you
reminding
so
us
much for
that.
joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, and thank
Yeah.
you for reminding us that building a business doesn't have to break you. It's super important. Ladies, we don't want you to be worn out building a business. We want you to be thriving, aligned, and thriving. We want you to go from overwhelm to overflow. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you, Toria.